Today I wanted to talk a little bit about price levels and how I use them in my swing trading. I'm actually finishing up a book on swing trading, and I realize this is not something I've gone into a lot of detail on even in my videos I've done. You've seen the three primary charts I use in swing trading, and sometimes you'll see me put a stop loss at a position that I say is a price level, but I don't really talk about how I came up with that and why I put them there. Now, keep in mind, this is the very simple way that I use them in my swing trading. I do not use them the same way in day trading. In day trading, price levels are a lot more important to me, and I also keep up, especially if I'm trading the ES, I also keep up with how much volume there is at different price levels. So it's a lot more technical and it's a lot more detailed way to look at price actions than what we're going to do, here today as I try to go over some areas that I would consider, price support and price resistance, which is really what the price levels are. It's areas where the stock is fighting between buyers and sellers. Now, a couple of things. I'm looking at ADP right here is the first one I want to look at. I want to look at a couple of levels. One level I want to look at is up here at the 165 range. I'm sorry, the 175 range, because it's a 52-week high. And a 52-week high, or if you look way down here at 121, a 52-week low is typically an area of price control, an area where buyers and sellers are trying to determine which direction that stock is going to go. And if I'm setting a profit target, I'll pay close attention to a 52-week high or 52-week low, and I'll try to start to scale out of my position, take some partial profits just before that, because I do expect a fight over that level. Now, it doesn't mean it can't go up past it. You see here, this was a 52-week high when this hit. Next candle hit another one, and the next candle hit another one. But what I look at is, when you got into here, when it came up and hit that level again, you see it sold off. Came up the next day, kind of hit it again, sold off again before it broke through. So this, a 52-week high or a 52-week low is always a very important level, price level that you need to know about and make sure that you're taking some partial profit before you get up in there, because there is going to be a fight for control at that level. Here's another level that I would identify if I was trading ADP right now, and it's this level right here, right in this zone. So if I were to go long today, just as an example, I would probably put my stop, looking at strictly this one chart, I would probably put my stop right in this area here, which is below where it received support, and it just so happens it's below the 10 EMA right here, and probably as it goes further, it's going to be below the 20 EMA before long. So, this is another area where there's a fight for control, an area that if this breaks, it could indicate a further move down. And that's how I would identify a price level on ADP. Let's take a look at a couple of other stocks. This is Microsoft. We're going to take a look at it next. You also see that right here I have a 52-week trend line that's showing up on this symbol. This is some of the ones I've placed in previously. And you can see how that trend line has been, support and resistance, which is what I want to see if it's a good trend line. Even back through here, actually I probably drew it when it was trading in this area for the weekly trend. So the rest of this was just showing how going forward that trend line still held up as support and resistance. But that's a little off topic. So let's talk about the price levels that I see. Right here would be a fight for control, in my opinion. You're going to have another one right here. And you could probably argue one in this area. This would be a little bit larger one because there's a gap fill here. These, I'm only going to draw the three. There's some more if you look back where you can see where some other price control areas were, where there was a fight for control and some price levels that we need to be aware of. The other one is going to be right at this 52-week high, which this candle is still forming. But I'll go ahead and draw that in like it's the end of day and we're just now placing a trade. Now, first of all, I would never go long at a 52-week high. And I also wouldn't go long this far above my 10 EMA. And my guess is if I look at my other charts, it's also going to tell me that Microsoft is not a good buy here. However, today we're just talking about price levels. If I were to go long right here, which would be a terrible idea, but if I were, then the most logical stops that I can see just looking at this chart would be this trend line, this price level and the 10 and the 20 EMA. Now, if I move my stop down just into this price control area, this price level, and I put my stop here, then I'm going to have support at the 10, support at the trend line, and probably support at the 20 as this moves up. And this is another example where I would look at Microsoft, I'd find my price levels where I think my stop should be, and I would put them in there. Let's take a look at another one, just because, like I said, I want you to understand, how I look at price levels from a swing trading standpoint. Again, completely different than how I look at them on my day trading. And there's a lot more detail. I use volume, some other indicators in that, but just for my swing trading, technique that I typically use, it's important to understand how I pick my price levels and what I look at when I'm picking my stops, which is really what this video is about. This is AT Power. This is a little bit different look than what I gave you in the past. This is not a trade I would take. It's way too convoluted right through here. But let's just draw in some price levels so we can see what's going on and where we think that there might be some support, resistance, and good areas for stops. And if you look here, we're going to end up with really 3 price levels. Now, again, I wouldn't take this trade, but what you could do, assuming that this is going to consolidate here, is when it's in this price level, you could sell down, take partial profits here, final profits here. When it's in this price level, you'd be in a buy zone, partial profits here, and then final out up here if you were using price levels as your swing strategy. That's not the swing strategy that I'm currently using, and most of my videos are about right now. There is a very good swing strategy using this consolidation area and using these price levels as swing points. I know I've used that in the past. To me, it's easier to scan and find swing trades that match my indicators than it is to try to find these types of trades, which is one reason that I don't trade them. They can be very effective, but I typically do not trade these. Also, this is a very cheap stock. This is a penny stock, which is, if you want to trade penny stocks, that's up to you. I typically do not. I just pulled this chart up because I wanted to show you how the price can chop between price levels. Now, if I were to determine, and in all honesty, I have no idea which way this stock's going to go, but if I were to say, hey, I'm going to go long here, then my stop would be right down here at this price level, and my target would be up here in this price level area, probably just before these highs, so just right at the beginning of this price level. If I were to say this is a short, then I would short here, and I would take my target, start taking profit targets probably right in this area, and then follow it down with a trailing stop. And this would be my stop up here above these candles. Now, as I said, I'm not going to trade this because it's really difficult for me to tell what's going on with this stock. I would say it's trading below the 200 simple, and it looks like all of the other moving averages are below the 200. So my gut feeling is this stock would go down, but it could certainly bounce here because somebody is buying it through here. So I wouldn't trade it, but if I had to guess, I would say it's probably going down, but please don't trade this based on my guess. That's not how I like to trade, and it's right in no man's land here as far as all of your indicators go. But you can see how I would use the price levels in order to determine my stops and targets on this particular trade. Lastly, we'll take a look at Verizon. This one's a little bit more difficult to find your zone. I would probably put my zone right through here from a price level, and it's all within this zone because you've got different support and resistance through here. So really anywhere in this zone. Now, if it's a stop, I'd probably go toward the bottom of it if I could. But, if I was taking profit targets, I'd want to take them toward the top of the zone. Or if I was short, that is, I want to take them toward the top of the zone. At the upper level, you've got a couple of things going on. You've got a lot of fighting for a new 52-week high, and you've got a 52-week high here. And here's your fight for the 52-week high where there's a lot of support, or a lot of resistance here. It hit a new 52-week high. It immediately sold off. Now, what this is telling me, this type of price action is, if we do move back up toward this area, I would anticipate at least a temporary sell-off in this area again. And that's the importance when you're setting price levels, not to forget about a 52-week high or low. And even if it's just a single point, you don't have to have this right here. If it had just moved up and hit here without these candles, this would still be a zone I would draw out. Like right here, for instance. Where it came up right here, I would draw this zone. Zoom that back out. And I'm going to show you the importance of that too. I would draw this zone in if it came out through here. Now, if you look, if we were to extend this zone when it hit here, and we extended it all the way over here, we run right into this zone. And look what happened. It came here and it sold off. It came up here, it tested this 52-week high again, sold off, tested it, sold off, tested it, sold off, tested it, sold off, tested it, sold off. And that's why if I'm long, I try to take some profit targets before I hit this zone, because it's not uncommon to see these sell off, even if they were put in way back here. So it's something to keep in mind. You could even go back further. We had a 52-week, I think this was a 52-week high here, and it did go over it a little bit, but then it sold off. So don't forget about these, even if they're just single points, draw them in as price levels that you need to know about. And then when you're doing your long or short, you can look at price levels that are closer to the current price action. Because when you're placing your stop, you want to know that this area is where you want your stop to be. And you could put it right here under these candles, or to be safer, you put it under here. But it really depends on what your target is, because you can't have 3 points of a stop loss if your target's only 1 point up. Which my target here would be, if I went long here at 60.20, my target at best is 61.20, which is 1 point. So if I were to have a stop, at 60.20, way down at 59.10, that's about a 1-to-1. If I go down here at 58.70, I'm at a 1.5 stop to a 1 profit target, and you don't want to trade that way. Which is another reason that picking your entries is very important. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel. Let me know if you have any questions. I'd love to hear them. And let me know what kind of videos you want to see in the future. Also be on the lookout for my swing trading book. Thanks.